A rich woman in a white SUV deliberately splashed a cleaner with mud, laughed in her face, called her worthless, drove away. What she didn't know, a billionaire CEO witnessed everything. And he decided right then that cleaner's life was about to change. He gave her a scholarship, a promotion, a voice. 1 year later, at a luxury gala, that same cleaner walked in wearing elegance. The rich woman who mocked her?
Broke. Disgraced.
Watching from the crowd. This is the story of how one act of cruelty became someone else's greatest blessing, and how the woman who thought she was untouchable learned that karma never forgets. My name is Sophia Chin. I'm 24 years old, and this is how a billionaire I never met changed my entire life. The morning was cold and gray in Seattle. Rain from the night before had left the streets slick and dangerous. Puddles pooled along the curbs like small lakes. I walked carefully on the sidewalk, clutching my paper bag of breakfast, a stale muffin from the discount bin, and my worn cleaning gloves. My uniform was clean but faded from too many washes. My shoes had holes I'd tried to patch with duct tape. But I walked with my head up. I had a job. I had my little brother Ryan depending on me. I had a reason to keep going. The Grandview Hotel downtown was expecting me at 7 a.m. sharp. I couldn't be late. That's when I heard it. The roar of an engine.
Loud.
Aggressive. Coming fast. I looked up just in time to see a white Range Rover speeding toward me. Before I could move, the front tire hit a massive puddle.
Splash.
Muddy water exploded across me. My face. My uniform. My bag. Everything drenched in filthy street water. The SUV didn't slow down. Instead, the tinted window rolled down just enough for me to see her. A woman, maybe 30, designer sunglasses, bright red lipstick, perfectly styled hair. She was laughing. "Maybe don't stand so close to the road next time," she shouted. Then she sped off. I stood there dripping, shaking, humiliated. People walked past. Nobody stopped. Nobody asked if I was okay. I was invisible. Just another poor girl in a dirty uniform. I picked up my ruined muffin from the sidewalk and kept walking. Because what else could I do? What I didn't know, someone powerful had been watching. And he wasn't going to forget what he saw. The witness. Across the street, a black Mercedes sat quietly at the curb. Inside was a man named Alexander Hayes, 36 years old. CEO of Hayes Global Industries. Billionaire. One of the most powerful men in Seattle. He'd been on his way to a breakfast meeting when he saw it happen. The splash. The laughter. The way that young woman stood there, soaked and shaking, but didn't cry. Just picked up her bag and kept walking. Alexander's jaw tightened. He knew the woman driving that Range Rover. Christine Lauren. Fashion influencer. Daughter of real estate mogul Richard Lauren. Famous for her designer clothing line and her entitled attitude. She was everything Alexander despised about wealth. He picked up his phone. "Marcus," he said to his assistant. "Find out who that girl is. The one who just got splashed. I want everything, name, address, where she works. Everything." "Right away, sir." Alexander watched Sophia disappear around the corner, still dripping. "And Marcus? Be discreet. She doesn't need to know I'm looking." He hung up and sat there for a moment, thinking about his own mother. She'd been a housekeeper, raised him alone after his father left, worked 3 jobs to put him through school. She died when he was 22, exhausted and overworked. He'd never forgotten what it felt like to watch someone you love be treated as invisible. This girl, whoever she was, deserved better. And he was going to make sure she got it. I had no idea my life was about to change completely. Keep watching. The hotel. I arrived at the Grandview Hotel looking like I'd been pulled from a river. Brown stains covered my uniform. My hair stuck to my face. My shoes squelched with every step. My supervisor, Mr. Reynolds, took one look at me and scowled.
"Chun.
You're late. And what the hell happened to you?" A car splashed me. I tried to clean up, but no excuses. He cut me off. "Get changed and get to work. The VIP floor needs to be spotless before noon." I nodded and headed to the staff locker room. My coworkers glanced at me. A few shook their heads in pity. Nobody offered help. I changed into my backup uniform, even more worn than the first, and tied my hair back. Then I got to work. Mopping,
Dusting.
scrubbing toilets, making beds for people who'd never know my name. My back ached. My hands were raw, but I kept going. Because at home, Ryan was waiting. 13 years old and counting on me to keep the lights on. Our parents died in a car accident 3 years ago. I'd been 21. Ryan had been 10. I became his guardian. Dropped out of college. Started working. This hotel job and my evening gig cleaning offices. It was barely enough. But it was all I had. Around noon, I took my break in the alley behind the hotel. Sat on a crate with my lunch, a piece of bread and tap water in a reused bottle. I didn't know someone was watching. Alexander stood near the service entrance, dressed casually in jeans and a baseball cap, sunglasses hiding his identity. He watched Sophia eat her meager lunch, saw how carefully she rationed each bite, how she checked her phone, probably for messages from her brother. No makeup, no luxury, just a young woman doing everything she could to survive. His chest tightened. She reminded him so much of his mother. He walked away quietly, but his mind was already working. She doesn't know it yet, he thought. But everything's about to change. What he did next started a chain reaction nobody saw coming. The first gift. The next morning, I opened my locker at work and froze. Inside was a small brown paper bag. I looked around. Nobody was watching. Carefully, I opened it. Inside, a pair of brand new cleaning gloves, a warm breakfast sandwich wrapped in foil, and a folded note. I unfolded it with trembling hands. For the girl who works with grace, even when the world is unkind. No name, no signature. I stared at the sandwich. It was still warm. Fresh eggs, cheese, bacon. I hadn't had a hot breakfast in months. My eyes burned with tears, but I didn't let them fall. Someone had seen me. Not my uniform or my job title.
Me.
I ate that sandwich slowly, savoring every bite. Far away in his downtown office, Alexander watched the hotel's security feed, access he had through a partnership with the hotel chain. He saw Sophia's reaction, the way she touched the note, the small smile on her face. Small steps, he murmured to himself. Marcus, his assistant, appeared at the door. Sir, I have the full report on Sophia Chen. Alexander read through it carefully. 24 years old. Works 2 jobs. Guardian to her 13-year-old brother. Parents deceased. Lives in a studio apartment in South Seattle. No criminal record. Perfect attendance at work. He looked at her photo, a candid shot from social media. Her smiling next to a young boy. Both of them happy despite everything. She deserves better than this, Alexander said quietly. What do you want to do? Marcus asked. Promote her. Quietly. Make it look natural. Sir, she's a cleaner. She's not just anything. Alexander's voice hardened. Make it happen. The promotion changed everything. But not everyone was happy about it. The promotion. I was scrubbing bathroom tiles on the 3rd floor when Mr. Reynolds called me over. Chun, he said, looking at his clipboard. You're being moved to VIP floor maintenance. Starts tomorrow. Better pay. Fewer hours. I blinked. Sir, I didn't apply for that. It's been approved from corporate. Congratulations. He walked away before I could ask questions. I stood there in shock. VIP floor meant double the pay. Cleaner work. Better conditions. This could change everything for me and Ryan. That night, I told my little brother the news. He hugged me so tight I could barely breathe.
See, he said.
Good things happen to good people. I wanted to believe him, but I couldn't shake the feeling that something bigger was happening. Something I didn't understand. Meanwhile, the whispers started at work. How did she get VIP floor? Must know someone. Probably sleeping with management. I heard every word, but I said nothing. Let them talk. I had work to do. But across town, someone else was about to get a very different kind of message. Christine's warning. Christine Laurent sat in her penthouse, scrolling through Instagram. Her latest post, a photo of her new Hermes bag, had gotten 50,000 likes in an hour. Life was perfect. Then her assistant knocked. "Miss Laurent, this just arrived." An unmarked envelope. Christine opened it carelessly. Inside, a printed photo. Grainy but clear. It showed her white Range Rover. The exact moment it splashed that cleaner. A sticky note was attached. "Not everyone forgets." Christine's smile vanished. What the hell is this? She threw it in the trash. But something in her chest tightened. For the first time in her life, Christine Laurent felt like someone was watching. And she didn't like it one bit. The war between kindness and cruelty was just beginning. And only one side would win. Act 2. The Rise. Over the next month, my life transformed. The VIP floor was everything Mr. Reynolds promised.
Cleaner.
Quieter. Better tips. I was making almost double what I'd made before. Ryan and I moved into a better apartment. One with heat that actually worked. I started saving money for the first time in years. But the strangest part? The gifts kept coming. Fresh flowers in my locker. Encouraging notes. Once, an envelope with $200 cash and a note. For groceries. "You deserve to eat well." I didn't know who was behind it, but I felt seen. Valued. Like I mattered. One afternoon, a man in casual clothes approached me in the lobby. "Excuse me," he said. "Do you know where the rooftop bar is?" I smiled. "Yes, sir. I'll show you." As we walked, he asked questions. "How long have you worked here?" "Almost 3 years." "Do you like it?" I hesitated. Nobody dreams of cleaning toilets. But I'm grateful. I do my best. He stopped walking. "You do more than that," he said softly. "You shine." I laughed nervously. "Thank you, I guess." He smiled and walked away. I didn't know it then, but that was Alexander Hayes, the man who'd been orchestrating my entire rise from the shadows. But not everyone was happy about my success. And what happened next almost destroyed me. The sabotage. Not everyone celebrated my promotion. Lisa Chun, no relation, had worked at the hotel for 8 years. She'd expected the VIP position. When I got it instead, she was furious. One night, she snuck into the supply closet and switched my cleaning solution with something else. Something slippery. Dangerous. The next morning, a guest slipped in the lobby I'd just cleaned. Fell hard. Bruised his hip. "Who cleaned this floor?" Mr. Reynolds shouted. Everyone pointed at me. I was called into the office. Accused. Threatened with termination. "I swear I didn't do anything wrong," I said, voice shaking. But nobody listened. Except one person. Alexander made a phone call to the hotel's general manager. "Review the security footage," he said calmly. All of it. What the cameras showed was damning. Lisa clearly switching the bottles. Smirking as she did it. The manager apologized to me personally. Lisa was fired. I left that office shaking with relief. I still didn't know who'd saved me. But someone was watching over me like a guardian angel. And across town, Christine's world was starting to crumble. Christine's fall. Christine's Instagram post went viral. But not in a good way. Someone had leaked the photo of her splashing me. Posted it with the caption, "Some people think money erases manners." It spread like wildfire. 50,000 shares. 100,000 comments. People calling her cruel. Entitled. Heartless. Her brand partnerships started pulling out. Her father was furious. "You've embarrassed this family," Richard Laurent said coldly. "It was just some random cleaner," Christine protested. "That random cleaner has more grace than you've ever shown." He froze her credit cards. Cut her off from the family business. "Maybe when you learn respect, we'll talk." For the first time in her life, Christine had nothing. No money. No power. No protection. Just the consequences of her own cruelty. Meanwhile, I had no idea the man behind my transformation was about to reveal himself. The reveal. 3 months after the promotion, the same man approached me again in the lobby. This time, he didn't pretend to be lost. "Sophia Chun," he said with a smile. Can we talk? I tilted my head. You know my name? I know a lot about you. He extended his hand. Alexander Hayes, CEO of Hayes Global. I'm part of the ownership group for this hotel. My stomach dropped. You're Alexander Hayes? The billionaire? Just Alexander, he said gently. And I've been watching you. That sounds creepy, I said before I could stop myself. He laughed. Fair point. Let me explain. We sat in the hotel cafe. He told me everything. The mud splash. How he'd witnessed it. How it reminded him of his own mother. You didn't deserve that, he said quietly. And I couldn't forget it. Tears filled my eyes. You're the one who's been leaving gifts? The promotion. He nodded. Why? I whispered. Because in a world that treats people like you as invisible, I wanted to remind you that you're not. I couldn't speak. Could barely breathe. This man, this powerful, wealthy man, had seen me when nobody else did. What he offered me next changed my life forever. The scholarship. I want to offer you something, Alexander said, sliding a folder across the table. I opened it with shaking hands. A scholarship. Full hospitality management training. Paid for. You'd still work here part-time if you want, but you'd have a real career path. My vision blurred with tears. Why me? Because you never asked for anything, he said softly. But you deserve everything. I couldn't hold back the tears anymore. For 3 years, I'd been invisible. Just a cleaner. Just a girl nobody saw. And now this stranger, this incredible man, was giving me a future. I don't know what to say, I whispered. Say yes. I looked at him through tears. At this man who saw me when the world looked away. Yes. 1 year later, everything had changed. And the woman who mocked me was about to see exactly how much. 1 year later, the gala. The Grandview Hotel held its annual charity gala. The ballroom glowed with chandeliers and champagne. The entire city's elite attended. I walked in wearing a simple navy gown. No diamonds. No designer label. But I didn't need them. I'd graduated top of my hospitality class. Been promoted to assistant manager. Had a future I'd only dreamed about. Alexander stood beside me, beaming with pride. We weren't dating, not yet, but everyone could see it in his eyes. He'd fallen for me.
Slowly. Completely.
And I'd fallen for him too. The event coordinator called me to the stage. Tonight, we honor someone whose journey represents everything this hotel stands for. Sophia Chun. Applause filled the room. I took the microphone with trembling hands. 1 year ago, I said, I was just a girl walking to work. Someone splashed me with mud and laughed in my face. I felt worthless. The room went silent. But someone saw me that day. Not my uniform. Not my job title.
Me.
I looked at Alexander. He reminded me that kindness is louder than cruelty. That dignity isn't about money. It's about how you treat people. Then I saw her. Christine Laurent. Standing in the back. No designer dress. No entourage. Just a woman who'd lost everything watching the cleaner she'd mocked stand on stage. Our eyes met. She looked away first. The ending will leave you speechless. Stay with me. The final moment. After the gala, I walked outside to the spot where it all began. The street where Christine had splashed me. It had been repaved. Smooth and clean now. Alexander followed me out. What are you doing? He asked gently. I took off my heels and walked barefoot across the pavement. Leaving behind the girl who thought she didn't deserve better, I said. And becoming the woman who knows she does. Alexander smiled and took off his shoes too. Stood beside me. Equal.
Proud.
We walked forward together. Not as a billionaire and a former cleaner, but as two people who understood that worth isn't about money. It's about how you treat others when you have power, and how you rise when someone tries to keep you down. Epilogue, 6 months later. Christine sat in a coffee shop, not one of the luxury places she used to frequent, but a regular chain. She'd been cut off from her family's money, lost her brand deals, was working as a sales associate at a department store. Her Instagram following had dropped from 500,000 to 12,000. She saw the notification on her phone. Sophia Chun and Alexander Hayes announce engagement. The photo showed them smiling.
Happy.
In love. Christine stared at it for a long time. Then she did something she never thought she'd do. She sent a message. I'm sorry. For everything. You didn't deserve what I did. Congratulations on your engagement. She didn't expect a response. But an hour later, one came. Thank you. I forgive you. I hope you find your own happiness. Christine cried. Not from sadness. From relief. Because forgiveness, real forgiveness, was something money could never buy. And Sophia Chen, the girl she'd once mocked, had just given it to her freely. Final message. If you made it this far, thank you. This story is about more than revenge. It's about remembering that every person you meet, no matter their job, their clothes, their circumstances, is fighting a battle you know nothing about. Kindness costs nothing, but cruelty can cost everything. The woman who splashed mud lost her entire world. The woman who got splashed gained everything she'd ever dreamed of. Not because of revenge. Because someone powerful chose kindness over indifference. Hit that like button if you believe how you treat people matters more than how much money you have. Subscribe for more stories about karma, justice, and the power of seeing people for who they really are. Comment below. Have you ever been treated as invisible? How did you rise above it? And remember, you are never as invisible as cruel people want you to believe. Someone sees you. Someone values you. And your story isn't over yet.